we are doing your property questions, be it buying, selling, renting, mortgages, whatever it is. Kate Faulkner's with us, property market analyst. Hello, Kate. Jane King is still here, independent mortgage and equity release advisor. Hello, Jane.
Hello.
So you mentioned leasehold property there. And the Law Commission, if this is something you're doing at the moment, so if you've got one or if you're thinking of buying one, the Law Commission wants to hear from you.
Absolutely. So it is kind of quite exciting because there is something like over 4 million leaseholders in this country now. And typically in the past, you're a leaseholder if you owned a flat because there were communal areas and you all kind of had to put in money to look after those communal areas. And personally, as a leaseholder, the kind of power, if you like, of what you had to pay and when was very much with the freeholder as opposed to you as the leaseholder. And if you had a good freeholder, could be a great relationship. But if you had a poor freeholder, actually it could be quite difficult. And a lot of leaseholders have been left out of pocket with repairs, or indeed repairs not being done that should have been done. We've also recently had quite a leasehold scandal whereby some developers, not all, some developers have been involved in putting very onerous leasehold onto detached homes, for example, onto houses. Government is working on this. And basically, as a result of all of the problems that we've seen to date, there is now a huge commission, which all that really means is they want your views. So if every single one of the 4 million leaseholders out there could go to the Law Society, because they're running this on behalf of the government, and tell them all the things you don't like about leasehold and all the things you do like, hopefully in a few years' time, probably take sort of a good few years, we will actually get a fairer system. So it's really important you get involved. The document's 562 pages. Good news is...
Glad you warned us on that one.
There's a summary version. Do the summary version. Even if you only answer one or two questions, it doesn't matter. Please, please, please get your views across.
In fact, Mike's got a question about leaseholds. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hello. What's yours? You want to try and get yours extended?
Well, yes. I mean, I've got a few properties that we rent out, one of which is a flat. It's got about 30 years left on the lease. I would like to extend it because obviously it'd make it more available for sale or whatever we wanted to do. Approached the leaseholders and they wanted £800 just to come out and look, and they couldn't give me any idea what it would cost, which I thought was quite excessive, £800.
Well, funnily enough, that is exactly one of the things, the questions, because what they're looking at doing or potentially looking at doing is capping the amount that you have to pay. And that payment has to be fair. There's a very good service called the Leasehold Advisory Service, which is free online, and that's partly government funded as well. And what I would do is I would go to them. They'll actually give you a free phone call as well and take their advice, because you may find that amount is excessive. So I would go and talk to them, and then what you really need is to approach somebody like the Association of Leasehold Enfranchisement Practitioners, otherwise lovingly known as ALEP, and they have specialist legal companies and surveyors that will help you with regards to extending the lease to make sure that it's done in a fair way.
Right, because it seems that it's totally unfair. I mean, there must be quite a few elderly people that are in a similar situation. These places were built in the 70s that may be looking to sell their properties, perhaps to go into...
retirement homes, yeah.
And they're coming against this brick wall. It'd be nice if you could do a rough idea on the value of the property or something like that.
Well, you can get, there are, if you just put in a search for leasehold extension calculators, there are some calculators online that you could have a look at. Try 2 or 3 of those, but you will need some specialist advice. So I'd certainly recommend Leasehold Advisory Service so that you get your kind of list of things to do. And understand your rights a little better, and then you can then go and get the specialist advice to help your circumstances. There is help out there for you. You just need to know the right people to talk to.
Yeah, final quick thought. We've got about a minute left, and there's a text here, and again, it's leasehold. How much do numbers matter? It says, I've got a flat which is leasehold. It's got 95 years left. Should I pay to extend the lease if I intend to sell in the next 5 years?
As far as mortgaging is concerned, once your lease drops below around 80 years, you may find yourself in a spot of bother. But in 5 years, I shouldn't think it's going to be too much of a problem.
Yeah. Well, that was quick. That was far neater than I was expecting. And it's interesting, though, isn't it? Why is it 80 years then? Is that that we would just assume an average life expectancy to be?
Well, again, I think it's the lender's view that if these leases get too short, then their security is going to be worth less and less and less over time. And so they want to see at least 35 years on the end of the lease. And it's normally also down to the valuer to make a decision as to whether that property is suitable security, regardless of the number of years left on the lease.
So you don't find yourself in the position that Mike's in, where you need to extend and it becomes difficult. Thank you both.
Absolutely.
Jane King, independent mortgage and equity release advisor. Kate Faulkner as well. Thank you, Kate, property market analyst.